Hello, today I will be interviewing Bob Leonard, an artist who will be exhibiting his work at Alfa's upcoming photography exhibition. Bob, thank you for joining us today.
Hey Daisy, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. To start off the interview, could you provide background information on yourself as an artist?
Okay, great. So I've been shooting since I was 14, which is a long time. And I started doing black and white photography, and mostly, through high school and college, and mostly photojournalism. I was on the school newspaper, in college and worked on a yearbook and had a passport photo business, freelance work. Um, and after college, I shot mostly Kodachrome. I just didn't have access to a darkroom, and frankly, I was never really a big darkroom jock. And anyway, but Kodachrome was easy to use and relatively cost effective. And and then I got into digital back around '06 or so, 2006. So digital photography kind of saved my life, make things easy to do and great work, managing the process, um, that sort of thing. And I've been a member of Soho Photo Gallery for about 15 years. It's a member-run co-op gallery here in New York. It allowed me to really step up my game. It's a gallery with about 100, over 100 members, all doing different things. So it's really a great experience.
All right. Next question, how do you come up with ideas for your projects?
Oh yeah, it's a great question. Um, so I do a lot of street work. I'm mostly curious about different objects I find just walking around. Sometimes I'm out, with my mirrorless camera, Canon. But a lot of times I'm shooting with my phone. The best camera you have is the one in your pocket.
Mhm.
I'm told. So I'm capturing objects that I find interesting. Colored, graphical, the street art. There's all kinds of stuff that I just catches my eye, and it's source material. That then I organize into the work I'm doing.
All right, next question. Your ongoing project Stories, which shows photos in 2x2 collage arrangements, feels as if it relates to pop art through its use of collage and color. Is this intentional?
Yeah, it is, and it's a fair assessment of what I've been doing. So, what I'm trying to do here is organize these images so they all work together, and create this narrative that is completely concocted. Um, but it's tied together by color, by theme, an idea. But I'm capturing different things that I see in my environment, different objects, street art, uh, advertising materials, just all kinds of things that I find interesting, and then pulling it together. That's kind of the idea.
How do you feel the element of collage in your work changes how a viewer perceives these photos as opposed to if they were presented separately?
Yeah, that's interesting thought because I mean a lot of the stuff would not stand on its own. I would think I would be bored by that. So the sum of the parts I think makes it more interesting. Um, and that's the idea, is to take something that you would just kind of blow off, and it's not really interesting or compelling, and then by putting it all together into this format, I think it makes it more interesting.
Okay, what are some of the themes represented in your series stories?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I mean, one thing about street photography in general is that it's a fleeting moment. You shoot something and you could come back the next day, and that thing is gone. So that's that's the opportunity, here is to capture something, and it's a statement on our environment, on stuff that's out there, uh, various aspects of the city, consumerism, uh, political commentary, street art, graffiti, all kinds of things that you just stumble on, and a built world, a built environment, some shooting stuff that's being created or constructed or whatever. Could be a barrier, whatever it is. But they're all things that you see just walking around, and they could be gone the next day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you an example. I mean, I did a series during the pandemic, and so initially, just shooting around my neighborhood, I live on the Upper West Side, and you really couldn't go too far. The subways really weren't running that much, but just shooting stuff in my neighborhood, things that were happening. Uh, Part of those that work had my neighbors and friends, wearing masks, um, and some of the elements of the pandemic, various signage, keep your distance, that kind of stuff. So looking back at it, it was capturing a time. It seems like a long time ago, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
this time ago, but I mean, it seemed like a little bit of a time capsule. Uh, so that's kind of what I'm doing here is I'm capturing something, um, you know, that's um, that's kind of a little bit of a time capsule.
Has your street photography changed your views or feelings on New York City in any way?
Well, yeah, I was thinking about that question. I mean, a lot of the stuff is not just in New York, so it was shot all over the place. I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes there may be one particular um, plate, that is strictly New York, but some of the stuff is from all over, just, traveling around upstate, up in New England, went to Portugal last year, and some of the stuff was from there. So, I mean, some of it's site specific. It's obvious that it's New York or somewhere else, but sometimes you just don't know where it is. Sometimes you have to look, oh, where did I shoot that? It was, somewhere I forgot, but
Mhm.
I try not to, I try not to have this work, be specific. Oh, this is New York City, by itself. I really want it to be kind of timeless and placeless, right?
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then after your current project, where would you like your work to go from here?
Gee, that's a good question. I guess, my attitude has always been, I'll do stuff until I'm bored. So right now
Mhm.
I'm not bored by this work, and I seem to be able to, come up with new things that I'm happy with. Um, and the work. I mean, it's got to be inspiring to me. I have to look at the work and go, oh yeah, this is great. Or I look at some of the stuff and go, this is not working. This is terrible, and it gets tossed out. But I mean, right now, I feel like with this particular series, I think I can keep going for a while with it. When I get bored, I'll do something else. I mean, I did some other work that was more abstract, and I also did a series where I was looking at the works of Joseph Albers. You probably know about him, right?
Mhm.
Art school classes. So I was doing abstract work and having different backgrounds,
Mhm.
different color. There were similar color backgrounds, but they were different enough that your eye perceives the abstract images differently, which is kind of cool. So that was all Joseph Albers stuff. So I may go back and play around with that stuff at some point. So anyway, it's not enough time, not enough hours in the day, Daisy.
Mhm. All right. And then that is all the questions I have for you today. Once again, thank you for joining me in the interview and letting our gallery know more about you.
Terrific. I'll see you at the opening, I hope.